welcome to All About Community. My name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host. I am just really perplexed. I'm perplexed about the United States Senate and what's going on there in terms of the filibuster rule. There is nothing in the Constitution that requires a filibuster rule. Filibuster rule, as I understand it, and from my understanding of history, is that it has been used over the years primarily, now listen to this, primarily to stop civil rights type legislation. That is a shame. And now we have the George Floyd legislation coming up. We have the John R. Lewis bill coming up on voting rights. So, but we got to be very careful, and I want to warn you, stay tuned and be careful. But that's not what we are going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk to a young man named Dr. Phillip Harris. Dr. Harris, welcome to All About Community.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're quite welcome. It's always a pleasure to have young folks on the program. But first, let's chat a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up here in the Bay Area in Oakland, actually not too far from the Oakland Zoo.
Oakland Zoo, all right.
Yeah, and I attended Sequoia Community. At that time, it was Sequoia Community Preschool. It's no longer a preschool. It's just a church now. But
okay, well, yeah. What other schools did you attend?
Then I went to Joaquin Miller for a year. And went to Redwood Day. I've kind of been all around, and then I
just couldn't find a place to go to school.
Yeah, Joaquin Miller. Yeah, Joaquin Miller, Redwood Day, and then St. Leo to finish up elementary, middle school.
St. Leo the Great School.
St. Leo the Great School. Oh, fabulous school. I go back very often. I haven't been back recently because my work schedule's been a little crazy, but St. Leo the Great is a phenomenal school. It gave me the confidence and the education I needed at a very pivotal time.
Well, why? What was so important about St. Leo the Great School after you, I believe, had left Redwood Day School?
Yes. Yeah, well, Redwood Day at that time, it was a little difficult for me. I went through some challenges, but luckily I was welcomed into the St. Leo community. Their fabulous principal, Mrs. Sonia Simrel. And she and all of the faculty and all of the other students there have just actually become really lifelong friends of mine. I just really love the community. I always go back as often as I can.
And what grades did you attend at St. Leo the Great?
4th through 8th grade.
4th through 8th. And
yes.
You thought that was a very good experience.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
St. Leo the Great is located right here in Oakland, isn't
it? Right at Piedmont, right in the Piedmont area, right on Howe Street.
Yeah, right behind the old Kaiser.
That's right.
Permanente Hospital.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you left St. Leo the Great School, where did you go?
St. Mary's College High School in Berkeley, and that was also another good time. The first time really being around a lot of diverse people and friends, and that was a really good time. I had a lot of fun there, and I have a lot of what I consider to be lifelong friends from St. Leo and from St. Mary's, so it was a great time.
Oh, and did you play basketball there?
I did play basketball, freshman and JV. Wanted to play varsity, but after I got through JV, I said, I don't know if I'm good enough to to keep going.
So you decided to focus on your studies, I suppose.
Yeah.
And were you... where did you develop your interest in music?
I guess that kind of started in church, and actually it was dating back to St. Leo, actually. So I was singing in the choir in church, and another wonderful mentor of mine, Mrs. Janice Maxie Reed, pulled me along in about the 7th grade, and said, hey, you do have a real talent for singing. You should probably, really study with me and do some things. And so at that point, I thought I was going to be a professional basketball player. So I sort of half listened, but I was still interested in it, and so she really got me really interested in it. There were a lot of other people along the way, but she was the one that really said, hey, you have a special talent. I'd like to work with you.
And you learned to play the piano, is that right?
Piano, and she worked with me on voice, and yeah, and then, you know, she's a very, very dear mentor of mine.
And then you decided to go to, after graduating from high school, you decided to go to college, is that correct?
I did, graduated from University of California, Irvine. And that was a good time. That was a good time. I got connected with a great voice teacher there, and
your major all the while was in music.
Yes,
correct?
vocal performance. Vocal performance.
Now, didn't you go to UCLA before you went to UCLA?
I did. That was another interesting experience.
And what did the person tell you down at UCLA? Did they tell you anything at UCLA?
Well, I started off as a music education major, and but after I got there and I got to know some of the other voice performance majors, I said, hey, I can do this. So I went to audition for them, and I got some unkind remarks from a certain faculty member there, and so, you know, at that point I realized that
what did she say?
Well, she said I didn't have any. She said I had no potential.
No potential.
And
black man with no potential.
Yes,
is that right?
yes. She said I had no potential, and that you know, that I wouldn't have a successful career in anything related to classical music, and that I should just stay in the classroom, where I can make the greatest impact. So, you know, at that point I read the email and I said, well, I've got to go, because she was over the voice area at that time. So, but I did not let that deter me.
Why did that not deter you?
Well, because I knew that I could do. I knew that I had a passion for it, and I knew that I had at least had some success for, you know, a young student at that time, and I thought it. You know, I thought that, you know, I wasn't going to listen to a total stranger who heard me for the first time. She didn't know who I was, and so she heard me in a snapshot, and then she made an assumption, and so I determined that I was not going to let her judgment determine my outcome.
So you had confidence in self, and I believe it was Marcus Garvey said,
That's right.
if you have no confidence in self, you're twice defeated in the race of life.
That's right.
With confidence, you have won
Before you started.
Even before you have started. So you didn't let that teacher deter you.
Right.
You decided that you could do it, and that's the fundamental belief. We got to go to break. Oh, man. What can I say?
Yeah, that was
Go
fast.
to break, so don't touch that remote. Put it down. We will be right back with All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and my guest is Phillip Harris, Dr. Phillip Harris.